for me, I started reading the first 2 issues. I was like, oh, you know what? I really enjoy this. I'm really liking this. Then I saw a preview of Storm number 3. In that preview, at the beginning of the preview, and they had Beast, and I was like, who the fuck is that character?
Yep.
And I looked at the preview and was like, they changed the art. I can't read this. And it wasn't until this week that I went back and read 3 through 10 because that artwork was so terrible.
It is pretty bad.
It took me out of it. And the crazy thing about it, that artist only did 1 issue. He did Storm 3. I can't remember what his name was. But they have 2 regular artists that kind of go back and forth. And are, for the most part, their artwork is consistent. I think Victor Ibanez is the main artist. He's the one that did 1, 2, 4, 5, and 10. And then Al Baranova, he did 6, 7, 8, and 9. And like I said, that 3rd issue, though, is the one where you just like, it takes you out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have that issue with that?
Yeah. I made my cousin Monique read this because I couldn't be mad alone. And she was really happy on issue 1 and 2. She was like, this is how she should look. I love this representation of black women. And then about like a half an hour later, she was like, why the fuck is there a chola on my screen?
But yeah.
Like, she light-skinned and she got the drawn on eyebrows. And then out of nowhere, like, what the fuck happened to Beast? There's like 4 different Beasts in this shit.
Why do they keep drawing him like a chupacabra, yo?
Oh, he's in like issue 8 or some shit. Like, it was so bad.
Like, the artwork, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but, because again, I am no artist. You know, I used to trace things and draw a couple things growing up, but I'm no real comic book artist. But the artwork for Beast in issue 3 is absolutely fucking horrendous. It is the worst art I've seen. Like, you have no business drawing in a comic book setting. Like, even, like you said, even Storm looks ridiculous in this, but Beast is the ultimate disrespect.
I have a slightly different standpoint on that. Like, I agree with you on Beast and Storm, but when they showed Storm arriving in the Kenyan Serengeti or whatever, how come all the Africans look like Easter Island idols?
No, everyone's eyes were off.
Bruh.
Like, their eyes were half closed and squinted. It was so weird.
Yeah.
All the kids.
I was halfway up, and I think that's why I stopped reading.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. The artwork in 3 is so bad, I excuse the artwork in the other issues. Let's put it that way. Because I can't disagree with you either. Like, this is... I've been reading some of their other books. I've been reading the Miss Marvel book. I'm reading the Thor book. I'm reading the all-new Captain America book. Artwork of those, great. Joe from... he's going to be on the show on Insania Check tomorrow. He's from Project Fandom, and he's been talking about Mighty Avengers. And how great the artwork looks in there, and you know they're drawing. They have a bunch of black female characters and black characters in Mighty Avengers. Talking about how great those panels look, and then you get to Storm, and it's like you didn't even use the B team, you used the C team to draw this.
And I think we'll get to this, but I think that the in my opinion, the writing and the progression of the story mirrors the art. We'll get to it. I just thought the whole thing seemed a bit haphazard to me.
Like there's what was the name of the little girl? Creep. She's
Marisol.
like Marisol. I guess she's supposed to be Mexican. Why does she look?
She's Mexican.
She looks like the African people that Storm saves in the beginning of the issue. So you can't tell the difference between those ethnicities. They look the same. And I just don't... I hate to say it because I don't believe this, but I'm like, you guys can't draw ethnic characters.
Look, I'm going to say it. So most of us have Red Rat Queens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
No. Sorry.
But go ahead.
You should, and you should be ashamed of yourself that you haven't yet. But
you really...
We'll allow it. We'll allow
real
it.
life is serious right now, I'm saying.
Tonight.
Not a good enough excuse. So they had to get rid of their artist because he was a douchebag. He was a black guy, and he could really draw one of the characters, D, really well. And then in issue 9 and 10, they have a new artist because the old one was fired. he can't draw Dee the same way. She's a little bit slimmer. She doesn't really have an afro. It's more just curly long hair, right? But you can see the difference, but it's not that bad.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, and like even like the other character, Betty, like she kind of looks just like an old midget now instead of a like a little child that was a killer or some shit.
Yeah.
So you got the first iteration of Dee was made by a black dude that cared about black women, beat them too, but you know. Then
he appreciated their look.
Yeah, he did. He so appreciated when they were a little, looked a little black and blue. Shit's crazy. But then you got the second artist who was a white guy who probably just loved black women, loved the way they look, everything. Whoever drew this shit was just a white guy in a fraternity that watched BT Uncut, and that's it. Had no other interaction with black women, because this shit is horrible, like just bad. It almost feels kind of racist.
Wait, so it's a different artist than from 9 and 10? Because 9 was a different artist too.
No, I think 9 and 10 are the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 9 and 10 are the new artists, and the Braga special had a different artist from all of them.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but it just feels like the kids in the little African country, they look old. Like, it just feels racist. She looks like a fucking crackhead in part of 3. Like, she goes from like 20 to 45 in it's bad. It's all bad, well, and they just be ashamed.
I get picking artists. I mean, I get having multiple artists on an issue. Mm-hmm. You try to pick artists that are stylistically similar. This didn't seem to be the case. And I also get having an artist that is different stylistically if you're trying to make a point that accentuates that difference. Like, for instance, Bitch Planet #3 had a different artist. And the style of the art.
What's the name of that comic?
Bitch Planet.
Bitch Planet. Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Okay.
Outstanding comic book. But Bitch Planet #3 had a different artist. But when you read the story, the art actually makes sense, even though it's stylistically different than their what's his name, Valentino Delandro, who is the house artist for that comic book. There didn't seem to be any reason for such a dramatic shift in the art in this book.
No,
they didn't make a point.
Nope. They didn't explain how she went from Lupita to Beyonce on a magazine cover.
Shit.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Who did the artwork for? I was trying to look it up, but my Firefox is acting like Firefox. Who did the artwork for?
Firefox acting like Firefox.
Who did the artwork for Astonishing X-Men? Was it Cassidy?
Sure.
I think so. Yeah. I remember seeing that name.
Yo, he did. He drew Storm in that one. Looks fine. You can get the expressions of characters' faces. The where this artwork struggles the most is getting the actual expressions of the characters' faces. They can't do it. So you'll have these moments where you're like, there's a moment in issue 1 where Storm is talking to Marisol, and they're both kind of getting snippy with each other, and they're supposed to have these faces, and you just can't really tell. And it's just so fucking sloppy. It just really is. And I hate that, because then with comic books, the artwork tells a lot of the story. So even if the writing does have some issues, even if I could get by that, because the artwork is so horrendous in some places, I can never really get into the story they're trying to tell. Mm-hmm. You know, and it just throws me off so much, and I'm so disappointed, because again, why does Storm get treated like this?
Same kind of overall point that you're making in the plot, without introducing this seemingly random missing person. It's like they're at moments I see what they're trying to do, but actually, the execution is terrible.
Actually, I want to know who approved these plots in the first place.
Yeah.
How about that? How the hell did this even get approved?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it would have been one thing if we weren't reading better.
Right.
But we get better. We've gotten, and it's not even like we're not getting better. It's like, oh, well, it's just because she's a woman and that's why she's written this. No, we have two, we have the Miss Marvel comic and you have the Thor comic all written well. And
Chris, no. The key part you're getting.
No. I know what I'm saying.
Man,
I get that, but I'm just saying that you know, it still doesn't excuse the fact that we have better. You know, we have better. We've seen better from there. So you, like, that's not, well, they might think that, and that might be their excuse is, hey, you know, it's X-Men, anybody will buy it. One, it's not true. You know, there's a campaign last year to save Storm because it was selling so low. So it's obviously not selling. And if your other books are, why aren't they? And to me, it's the creative team. It's not a good team. It's not a good team.
You know, I tend to think of it in terms of Marvel putting their priorities, and understandably, in the properties that they're either trying to spin off into a movie or properties that have gained enough popularity from the movies or whatever. But Marvel had to realize that taking, you know, an iconic Black woman, X-Men, giving her a book and then going half-ass in it,
it was not a good look.
It introduces that type of criticism.
It's disingenuous at best.
Right. I'll go
at the worst.
I'll go further than that. It's insulting.
Yeah.
It's insulting. Like I said, like the character, there's nothing about the character that I don't like. Like I like Storm, and I there are bits and pieces of the story that of her doing things, like when she goes to Vegas to like fill in Wolverine's role, you know, and she's like, well, I'm not Wolverine, I'll do something different. You know, I like her thinking on her own. I still do not like the Wolverine Storm relationship thing. Like that's another thing to me.
I was very pleased by how little there was of it in there, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pleased by that, but I always
tie-in was unnecessary.
You said what now?
That tie-in was so unnecessary.
Yeah, it was unnecessary, and two, I never liked them together. To me, I always thought of them as close friends. Like, why would you put them together? Like, that doesn't. It kind of ruined a little bit for me, but whatever.
Wolverine's a whore.
Well, he definitely is. Like, there's no way you can get around that. Wolverine is a whore. Like, I remember reading.
Okay, all I know is my name is not Chris Evans, nor is it Jeremy Renner, and I'm not trying to be there.
No, but I'm just saying. No, if anybody's Jeremy Renner could have saved himself by also saying that Tony Stark was a whore. Because Tony Stark is definitely a whore. Yep. But no, here's how big of a whore Wolverine is. I remember when I got the Sabretooth miniseries, like way back when. There was an issue in Sabretooth where he's up there. Sabretooth went to go talk to Mystique. And who's up there being a simp with Mystique in the Eiffel Tower?
Shut up, really?
Wolverine. Yeah, on a dinner date with Mystique. And I'm just like, you're a whore, dude. Man,
that healing factor makes him do some strange things, and I guess whoring is one of them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't need to introduce that whole thing. I'm still fuming about that whole situation, and it was apropos for me. To me,
no, it's just yeah. I don't know.
First of all, I think, you know what? Somebody just wants to put Storm in crappy relationships, because remember the Forge one started from him stealing her powers and then being trapped alone for a year. Then they stuck her with the asshole that gets on my nerves.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the other problem I had with this too. So we had her relationship with Wolverine. They bring in Forge. She never really had anything with Nightcrawler, but they bring Nightcrawler in, and they go back to Gambit, and we're like, we get it. She's had close relationships with all these. Like, you just had to bring them in to this, didn't you?
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
It was like the Gambit issue. Again, on its own, not bad. I get what they're trying to do. They're two thieves. They're trying to go through this, and hey, I get it. On its own, nice little story. But it just felt so out of place compared to
the other stories. Yeah,
the other stories going on.
Yes.
It made no sense.
Yeah,
she had to go through all this to be told, hey, you have to go back and believe in yourself and do the stuff you have to do and be you. And I'm like, she's fucking Storm. She doesn't need a pep talk.